Zombie apocalypse.
How's it going, everybody? This is Tyler Drabo. Hope you're having another great day, and welcome back to another video. Alright, so this is going to be another random thoughts video. In this series, I like to talk about whatever's on my mind, whether it's an interesting thing that's happening in the world, if it's a personal story that I want to tell, or if I just want to rant about something. So we are just a couple weekends away from the beginning of the 2021 NFL season, and there's a lot of excitement in the air, and also quite a bit of concern too, because there are still a lot of uncertain factors that could plague this upcoming NFL season. However, there's also a lot of excitement in the air as well, because there are a lot of new faces entering this league, a lot of old faces in new places, but most importantly, another opportunity for 42 teams to go after each other for another opportunity at the Super Bowl, which this year will be happening in Los Angeles. So this video is going to talk about the expectations for the 2021 NFL season. I'm going to be talking about some of the key headlines that I'll be keeping my eyes on throughout the course of the season, and more importantly, I'll make my predictions for some of the things that I think will happen at the end of this season, and whether or not who is going to win this Super Bowl this season. So obviously we're going to start with the big domino here in this upcoming season, and that's the COVID-19 pandemic. Now obviously we are in the middle of another wave of the coronavirus pandemic. I really thought that earlier this year we were reaching the end of it, but unfortunately things have gotten a lot worse since I made my video talking about whether or not it was the end of the pandemic nearing. And obviously we have seen that play a huge effect in the NFL. You know, there are several star players that have ended up testing positive for COVID and have had to miss some time, unfortunately, and because of that, you know, that's caused a lot of problems with some of these teams as we get closer to opening day. You know, the more players that have to sit out because of COVID protocols, you know, the more shorthanded these teams are, and the real difficult it is going to be for these teams to be able to start the season off strong. And you know, I want to see exactly how the NFL handles this season, because last year when we were in the middle of a coronavirus pandemic last season and we had no vaccines at the time, you know, they had to find a way to be able to play games on all 7 days of the week, which was a huge rarity at the time, all the way from Sunday to Saturday, obviously, and we were able to pull it off. You know, we were still able to pull off another great season, and obviously the end result was another fantastic NFL season, despite all the circumstances that we saw surrounding it. But I want to see if that stays the same this season, or if there are any changes with it as well. I know they mandated the vaccine, obviously, and you know, some teams have decided to enforce it, while others, you know, they've made it a personal decision whether or not they want to see their players take it or not. But obviously, I really want to see how the NFL can handle it when it comes to whether or not the games will be able to be played. I want to see if they have to continue to schedule it, or rewind or postpone some of the games if a situation like this happens, or maybe this time around, if a player ends up being positive and it really affects the entire team, if the NFL could really force the team to forfeit the game and give the win automatically to the opponent team, which I obviously do not want to see that, and I don't think anybody that's a fan of the NFL would want to see that. But you know, if anything that happened last year was any indication, I definitely believe the NFL is going to find a way to be able to do it again this season, and I'll tell you why. A lot of the reasons is because they were able to find a way to be able to play every single game, and more importantly, you know, they were able to put a lot of restrictions when it comes to being able to see what the players were able to do, you know, especially, you know, like in some situations, you know, limiting the activities that were happening outside the games. And obviously, you know, there were some points in the year where unfortunately they were limited to no fans, but obviously we can expect fans in the stadiums for every game, which is a good thing. And also I know that they've had a lot of stadiums mandate the vaccination status as well as, you know, IDs to allow some fans to be able to get in the game, and that's been pretty controversial as well. But you know, I definitely believe that the NFL is going to be able to try to do it again. You know, they're going to try to find some way to make this happen, and hopefully at the end of the season, when everything with the pandemic dies down, we'll be able to see some great football action, and the NFL will be able to put up another exciting season, and hopefully we can find out exactly who wins the Super Bowl in LA when we get there in February of 2022. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. You know, obviously we're in another bad wave of this pandemic. You know, things are looking pretty worse right now than it was earlier in the year, but you know, whether or not we'll be able to do it without any disruptions or something like that, we'll just have to see. But the NFL is going to try to find a way, and I'm sure that they're going to find a way to be able to make it happen. Next, obviously, I want to talk about some of the teams that are playing, and obviously, you know, there are a lot of interesting headlines heading into the season. One of them, obviously, is Aaron Rodgers. You know, he won the MVP award last year, but has had a really tumultuous offseason. There have been a lot of rumors suggesting that he doesn't want to play in Green Bay, Bay anymore, well, obviously he's going to be playing at least this season with Green Bay, but pretty much whatever happens next is on him, obviously, because, like he has said before, it is a beautiful mystery. And obviously, it'll be interesting to see if he can be able to replicate what he did last season, and hopefully this time lead the team to the Super Bowl, because this could be his last opportunity to win another Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers. So it'll be interesting to see if he can pull it off. He's got a lot of help on the offense, he's got a lot of help being able to get everything set up for the season for him to be able to stay there. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. So I think it'll be interesting to see how well Aaron Rodgers can do this season, and more importantly, what he's going to do after this season. Next big thing is that there are a lot of big quarterback battles that took place this preseason, and a lot of them were decided during this preseason across multiple teams. The first one I want to talk about is the Saints. Obviously, Drew Brees, perhaps a future first-round Hall of Famer, obviously, and he retired at the end of the season. And now the question is, who can succeed him as the new star for the New Orleans Saints? Well, that answer could potentially be Jameis Winston. The Saints recently decided to make him the starter over Taysom Hill. Now, obviously, the last time we saw him start a whole season, it did not go well. In fact, it was probably pretty miserable according to the stats, because not only did he have 33 touchdowns, he had 30 interceptions, which was a very ugly number for modern day NFL standards. But this is a second opportunity for him to be able to prove that he can still be a long-term starter in the NFL. The New Orleans is giving him a great opportunity, and so we'll see if he's able to take advantage of it. The Broncos also had an interesting quarterback battle. That one went to Teddy Bridgewater over Drew Lock. Obviously, Teddy Bridgewater is still trying to recover from his horrific injury that he suffered earlier in his career, and it's really been a long road for him to be able to get back to this point. But hey, obviously he's getting another opportunity. He's going to be named the starter for the Broncos again, and so it'll be interesting to see what he can do. And hopefully this year is the year where he can finally put things together and get his career back on track. Whether or not we see Drew Lock as a starter again in the near future, that remains to be seen, but I definitely do believe that he is NFL caliber talent, and hopefully he'll get an opportunity to be a starter soon. In New England, that has been a real center of attention when it comes to what's happening there between Cam Newton and Mac Jones, who is probably one of the best rookie QBs to enter this league in quite some time. And nobody really knows what's going to happen here. Obviously Cam Newton was looking like to be the starter, but hey, Mac Jones has been real impressive this preseason, especially during the practice sessions. There's been a lot of good things that he's been doing. Cam Newton's also been pretty good as well. However, Cam recently had to sit out a few days because of COVID protocols, and so this is a huge opportunity for Mac Jones to be able to make something happen here and potentially become the starter for the New England Patriots. Obviously the team's still trying to find a way to see Tom Brady, and obviously they thought they had that with Cam Newton being a former MVP, but obviously last season did not go according to plan. So we'll see exactly if Cam can be able to pull it off and become starter again. But one thing is for certain, based on what I'm seeing right now, this team is starting to look like it's Mac Jones for the future. I definitely believe Mac Jones is a great QB. He showed that in Alabama when this team won the national championship last season, and pretty soon I do believe that this team will be his once the team is done with Cam Newton. But it'll be interesting to see who gets the starting job there, and hopefully whoever it is, they can find a way to get back in the playoffs and make a good run. Then obviously there's another situation when it comes to Dallas. Obviously, this will be the first season back since Dak Prescott had his horrific injury last season, and there are a lot of questions surrounding how well he'll be able to do this season, whether or not he can turn it around and be able to have a successful season, and I definitely believe that he can do that. Usually whenever somebody has a horrific injury like that, it really remains to be seen whether or not he can be able to recover individually. And I've seen some players in the past where they've had an injury like that and somehow they come back and become an even greater player, or there have been other times that have been a player that has suffered a horrific injury and unfortunately it was just never the same. And obviously that has been a few instances where that has happened, unfortunately. Looking at Dak Prescott, however, I really don't think that's going to happen. He's a great player, he's fit, and obviously he's somebody that I believe can really finally get Dallas Cowboys another opportunity at a Super Bowl title, which they have not been able to find since the mid-90s. So who knows, maybe this is the year that the Dallas Cowboys finally pull it off. We'll just have to see. And then there are the two top teams in the league, which are the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously the both of them went off against each other in the Super Bowl after two very impressive seasons last year, which ended unfortunately in a rather lopsided way. The Buccaneers ended up walloping the Chiefs and ended up winning the game, obviously. But there are a lot of anticipation that the both of them could end up meeting with each other in the Super Bowl yet again this upcoming season, because both these teams are virtually virtually unchanged from last season. You know, Tom Brady, despite the age he is still as good as he was when he was 25 years old. And Patrick Mahomes, obviously, he's going to be a future Hall of Fame. Well, both of these guys are going to be future Hall of Fame because both of them obviously are NFL Hall of Fame players, obviously. You know, they have already put up Hall of Fame statistics as they are, and both of them have already won a Super Bowl. And absolutely, you know, it's going to be tough for the rest of the league to be able to challenge these two. You know, looking at it right now, once again, it's looking like the Chiefs and the Buccaneers are the two teams that you're going to have to beat in order to get to the Super Bowl. And obviously, the way things have been shaping out this preseason, you know, I really think it's going to be tough for anybody to be able to challenge Tampa Bay and Kansas City. But as we all know, there's always somebody that could come out there and pull up a pretty big surprise or two. Remember, Green Bay almost beat Tampa Bay in the NFC Championship game last season. So obviously, it'll be interesting to see what happens. You know, it's going to be a pretty exciting season, and you know, who knows what's going to happen, obviously, whether or not it'll be Tampa Bay and Kansas City again, or if it will be a new team there. But you know, there's still a lot of anticipation regarding what's going to be happening this NFL season. So we're going to go ahead and make a few predictions to see what's going to happen. So the first prediction I have is for Rookie of the Year. Now, obviously, there are a lot of expectations when it comes to Rookie of the Year, including there are 5 QBs that are entering this league this year that are really making a huge impact. Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars, who could be the best talent to enter the league in quite some time. Zach Wilson, who of course was drafted by the Jets. Justin Fields, who was drafted by Chicago, and maybe a potential for him to be a starter in the near future, as well as Trey Lance, who was drafted with the 49ers, and of course the aforementioned Mac Jones, who of course was drafted by the Patriots and could have a shot to become a starter himself. It's really tough, obviously, but as you all know, I am a Jets fan, and knowing who I am, I definitely believe that this QB is going to end up being the Rookie of the Year. I believe Zach Wilson, seeing what he did at BYU, he probably is a little bit better when it comes to overall fitness and fatigue than Trevor Lawrence. And of course, obviously, as you know, he's got a much more high caliber head coach, Robert Saleh, who is in his first season as a head coach of the New York Jets after being a defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. And Saleh brings a lot of experience as well. So I definitely believe that it is going to be a benefit for Zach Wilson. Lawrence, on the other hand, I definitely believe he's going to have a great year. However, he's dealing with a coach named Urban Meyer. Of course, he's a legend in college. However, he's really gotten off to a rocky start in the NFL. So really, things haven't been going so well for the Jags. Again, obviously, I'm trying not to show off my BS here, but seeing the way the preseason has gone so far, I definitely believe that Zach Wilson is looking like to be a guy that can really make an impact and hopefully find a way to get New York Jets back in the playoffs for the first time in almost a decade. And I definitely hope that this year is the year. So I definitely believe Zach Wilson is going to come away with the Rookie of the Year, and I definitely believe it is going to be a great year for the New York Jets. I definitely believe they will be able to find a way to end that playoff drought this year. Then obviously there's the MVP award. I know that this is a really tough decision, but when you look at it overall, I definitely believe that this is going to be a very difficult decision because there are a lot of great players in the league this year, and obviously all of them have a lot of opportunities to be able to make themselves known as that star player of the league. So when it comes to who I think is going to win the MVP award, my answer is probably going to surprise you a little bit. I think it's actually going to be Dak Prescott. Now, I know what you're thinking why I say that, because obviously, like I said before, he's coming off a horrific injury from last season, but hey, you know, this could be a year where he comes back from the ashes and he finds a way to make something happen and lead Dallas to the Super Bowl and really perhaps put off the best season of his career. And he's got that hefty contract that he got over the offseason. So I definitely believe Dak is going to shine, and I believe at the end of the year, he's going to get the MVP award for the first time this season. And I definitely believe that Dak is going to be a real threat for the MVP award this year, and I think he will come out eventually on top. And finally, when it comes to the Super Bowl, who is going to win the Super Bowl this season? I definitely believe that every single team's got a great shot to get at it this year, but like I said before, if you're going to do it, you got to get past Kansas City and Tampa Bay. And, you know, looking at the way things have been going so far, unfortunately, I really don't think there's much hope right now for the other 3 teams. So when it comes to the Super Bowl, I absolutely believe once again it's going to be the Chiefs and the Bucs that are going to be heading back there again. But when it comes to who wins the championship, I believe this time it is going to be Kansas City. Now, obviously, like I said, I did predict the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl last year, and it just didn't really go so well for them. But hey, you know, as we also all seen before, teams managed to find a way to rebound and be able to get their revenge on a team that beat them in the near future. And you know, there's been a lot of instances where that has happened before, and I definitely believe that it will happen again this year. Patrick Mahomes and all the weapons he has on offense are really going to be able to find a way to be able to get better, and I definitely believe that this team overall, offense, defense, and special teams, they're going to find a way to be able to make something happen. And I know that Tampa Bay, coming off a huge Super Bowl victory, they're going to find a way to be able to get back there again, and I definitely believe that they will. However, this time I think Kansas City is going to be a little bit better this year than they were last year. So I definitely hope to see both of them at the Super Bowl again, but in the end, I do do believe that right now, Kansas City is looking like to be the favorite to win the Super Bowl this year. And so that's really my pick right now for who's going to win the Super Bowl. But obviously, things can change over the course of the season. Like I said, the COVID-19 pandemic has really brought a huge crisis effect here in the overall landscape of the NFL. And there's always a possibility that we could see some drama there with that. But like I said, there are a lot of key headlines and a lot of exciting expectations for this season. And no matter what team you're a fan of, it's always an opportunity for you to be able to watch it on your TV screen, or maybe for the first time in a while, to go to the stadium and root for your favorite team. Obviously, there's a lot of opportunities to enjoy some great football this season, and I definitely believe it's going to be another very exciting season of NFL football. So we'll see what happens starting a couple weeks from now. It obviously begins with the Cowboys and the Bucs on Thursday Night Football on September 9th, and obviously after that, we'll see exactly what happens from there. But I definitely believe it's going to be an exciting season, and I certainly hope that you all enjoy this upcoming season because there's a lot of great football action, and I definitely believe it's going to be another exciting season of very hard-hitting football action. And hopefully this year is the year that New York Jets finally become a serious contender and get back to the playoffs again, because I have been having to sit here for a very long time since 2010 and having to wait to see when they're going to head back to the playoffs. But hopefully this year is the year Zach Wilson becomes the next Joe Namath for that team. But again, we will see what happens. Otherwise, that's going to do it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you liked my video, be sure to hit that like button. And as always, if you'd like to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when my latest video is released. As always, be sure to comment below for any future suggestions you have for my videos, whether it's vlogs, broadcast challenges, or random thoughts videos, you name it. Be sure to leave it in the comments below and I'll do my best to make them. As always, follow me on my social media. All the links are in the description below. That's going to do it for this video. Hope you're having another great day. And as always, I hope to see all of you again in another video very soon. So long, everybody.